and welcome to the August 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitor Bureau. I'm Steve Dennis, Chairman of the Board, and the first order of our business today is roll call, and Jamie is going to help us with that.
Chairman Dennis,
Here.
Vice Chair Olson,
Here.
Director Hansen,
Here.
Director Larson,
Here.
Director Levine,
Here.
Director Newt,
Here.
Director Bade.
Excellent, thank you. Item 4 is approval of minutes. 4.1 is approval of the May 17th, 2022 CGCVB meeting minutes. I would look for a motion if there's no changes indicated.
All motion?
Motion made by Director Levine,
Second.
second by Vice Chair Olson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 5 is business items. 5.1 is the Convention and Visitor Bureau events recap. And Julie Miller is going to help us with that today. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. All right, so I am going to be talking about agenda item 5.1. My name is Julie Pryor Miller, and I am the Communications and Marketing Specialist for the City of Cottage Grove. But a large part of my role is supporting the CVB. So we're just going to talk about, on a high level, a few of the events, the larger events that Discover Cottage Grove was a part of so far this year. First, we have the community showcase ran by the Cottage Grove Chamber of Commerce. Discover Cottage Grove was there. They partnered with the City of Cottage Grove Economic Development, and they were basically there to let residents know that we have a Convention and Visitors Bureau and what our purpose is. And then, of course, residents and community members could ask, what's going on in the city and what's upcoming, and those economic development questions as well. Later in the summer, but not really that late, just in June, Discover Cottage Grove was at Cottage Grove Community Night at the St. Paul Saints game 1 week prior to the Strawberry Fest. So we went to help promote the Strawberry Fest happening the next week and just get brand awareness out in our community to the larger community in St. Paul about who we were and what we were doing there, and they should come give us a visit the next week at Strawberry Fest, check us out, maybe go get some food, check out a park, hop on a kayak, all of the things. So while we were there, we were also alongside, promoting ourselves, promoting the Strawberry Fest. We had Strawberry Fest ambassadors there, talking to people and promoting the fest, and then they were also selling buttons. Those buttons were good for different items at the fest, some winnings, but really Discover Cottage Grove also sponsored a medallion hunt that had to do with those buttons. If you had one, you won a prize. So it was really exciting to be able to help them out and partner in that way. We have seen this before earlier in the year, but I just wanted to give you a little recap of the reach that the Saints have. They have a very large social media reach, and then this heat map that they have produced here tells you where they sell their most tickets. So in the red and the orange there is their audience. So when we had our tent on the concourse there, we were reaching, this reddish orange part, the majority of the Twin Cities, which is really who we want to reach and who we've already established 45 to 60 miles out is our target audience for getting those visitors into Cottage Grove. The total amount we spent at the Saints game as a Convention and Visitors Bureau was $900 for us to be able to have that tent space on the main concourse. With that, we got just over 60 tickets for us to be able to attend and then to be able to hand out to the community to join us. Oh, and one other thing I just wanted to mention too, the St. Paul Saints, they are ranked 5th in minor league baseball for their average attendance. So they do really well for themselves, which in turn does really well for us with the amount of people they have going to those games. Next, I'll talk about the Strawberry Fest. And I know I'm going to be up here talking a little bit longer than normal, so please, if you have any questions, I will stand for them at the end. But right now, I'll be talking about Strawberry Fest. You can see from the photos here, this is just a small sampling of what went on. By all measures, a year of record success. All 4 days, it was a beautiful turnout, attendance-wise, and with the sun and the very, very nice weather. So Discover Cottage Grove, the total amount that we had spent on promotion for the Strawberry Fest. Now, I'll just note this does not include staff time for promotion, but just dollars. We spent $2,392. That included an online campaign for marketing the Strawberry Fest, an ad in Minnesota Monthly Magazine, and our tent that we had on the concourse at the Saints game. In addition, our unique ties with the city of Cottage Grove, how our Convention and Visitors Bureau is under that umbrella. With that unique relationship, we're also able to utilize to promote the Strawberry Fest in the city channels. So the city homepage on their website, city social media, and then in the Cottage Grove reports, which reaches over 14,000 homes in Cottage Grove. From the Discover Cottage Grove site, it was on our website, our events calendar, our social media channels, and we also did send out multiple constant contact email blasts to our subscribers. These are just things in addition to the 2-page spread that we have printed in the visitor's guide, and then staff for Discover Cottage Grove did attend all weekend to take photos and promote on their social media channels. A few other things that happened at the Strawberry Fest. Discover Cottage Grove did sponsor the Strawberry Fest Medallion Hunt. This was a new venture for us, but we thought it aligned nicely with our goals and strategic objectives to get people to come and enjoy our community and discover new things about it. We scouted locations and wrote clues and posted those clues on social media. I will say we're measuring our success by a few different things, but we did think it was a success. The clues, people didn't find the medallion until day 4 of the hunt, which in the medallion world is fair and a pretty good day to find it. Everyone just crosses their fingers it's not the first day, right? So we were happy about that. We received a lot of positive feedback from the community and through our messages and social media channels that people were just having fun. They were out with their family. They were, getting out. It was the beginning of summer, and at this point, everyone's just ready to get out. And they were just having so much fun going out and seeing other people and talking to their neighbors, and it was a great time. And then I will also say that on our various social media channels, we did gain a lot of new followers and fans that will be seeing our content later on because they did decide to follow us. So we hope that the Medallion Hunt, not only supported Discover Cottage Grove and the Strawberry Fest, but then the sale of the Strawberry Fest buttons as well. Just a few things to recap from the Strawberry Fest committee meeting. It was a record year, $70,000 approximately in profit. The beer garden did fantastic. They sold over 1,400 hamburgers. The button sales received in $7,000. And at the marketplace, which Discover Cottage Grove was a part of, you'll see in this photo down here next to the hand with the henna, there were 91 vendors at that marketplace, which was also a record for the Strawberry Fest. So we do believe that a lot of our promotion of the Strawberry Fest was attributed to attendance and just a great turnout. So with that, I will stand for any questions.
Okay, well, thank you, Julie, for that nice recap. It's amazing to look back and see the different things that we were involved in this year and a lot of fun activities. And if promoting the city is what we're about, I think we're doing it and doing a very good job. 2 points of feedback from me. First, number one, the $900 that we paid to go to the Saints game, I think to get out in front of that many people as we did, I think that's a relative value for us. So that might be something that as we discuss things here as a group, we would like to continue doing, hopefully. Additionally, it comes as no surprise to me that we had such a great turnout for Strawberry Fest. Not just the promotion that the city did, but all the folks that work on that volunteer panel, and also the nice weather and the fact that we hadn't had anything for a couple years. I think people were really interested in getting out and, living again, if you know what I'm saying. So, but all in all, I like what I'm seeing, and so I will look to my colleagues here if anyone has any feedback. Vice Chair Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Julie, for a very nice recap. I wanted to just let everybody know that one of the very nice things about this Saints game promotion is that the Saints opened up a ticket portal, essentially, for Cottage Grove residents to be able to order tickets to go to the game. And they donated a portion of those proceeds back to the community through the Cottage Grove Lions Club, and that donation amounted to $226 back to the Cottage Grove Lions. So if we think about the investment that the Discover Cottage Grove team put forth, we got more than $200 back in donations to the Lions Club, which go directly back to the community. So again, I would encourage that this is something we continue to look at as an ongoing opportunity, because it really worked out well. And I know that, being at the game, I saw literally hundreds of people from Cottage Grove who were there, including many of the Lions Club members. And, they thought it was just a really nice event, a really fun day. Of course, the weather helped, et cetera. But, the Saints do it right. It's a fun venue to go to. Second thing I wanted to touch on is your comments about Strawberry Fest. Yes, it was a record year by any measurable metric that we use. And again, I'll reference our Cottage Grove Lions Club. We had a record year for sales. There's two different clubs that actually operate at Strawberry Fest. So you've got your beer over by the St. Paul Park Newport Lions that's closer to the pavilion. And then directly in front of the pavilion, out on what I'll call the parking lot area, we had our Cottage Grove Lions tent, where we do, hamburgers and different things, and then we also sell various beverages. And it wasn't just a little bit better than in the past, it was appreciably better than in the past. So I want to commend all of the folks who played a part in terms of promoting Strawberry Fest, whether it was at the Saints game or through digital media or whatever the case might be, because it clearly worked. People wanted to get out. They hadn't had that opportunity for a while. The weather was perfect, so that certainly helped. I know we had a ton of entries into the parade. In fact, the chair and I went through twice because we went through as ourselves, and then we went through as part of our Beyond the Yellow Ribbon team. And I mean, the parade route was crazy. I personally spent about $600 on candy and ran out. So, I mean, I've never run out. That is unbelievable to me. That just goes to show you there were a lot of people who wanted to celebrate Cottage Grove, and I think there's a good portion of that is due to the hard work of the Discover Cottage Grove team. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vice Chair Olson. Real quick, and you were cooking hamburgers too, weren't you?
I was serving and cooking. And
Yeah, and I ate two of them, and they were really good.
They were
they're
good.
always fantastic. All right,
Steve?
all right, Director Levine.
Yeah, so I'll add to, I echo the same thing with the success of the Saints game and the Strawberry Fest. I thought they were awesome, and I think they'll grow as if we choose to continue to do that. I'll tell you, as the chamber, we had a booth at the Strawberry Fest for the first time, and it was wildly successful. So that was great. We were able to, on the chamber website, we also advertised the Saints game, the Strawberry Fest, and I also now have online, or have for a little bit, but the Discover Cottage Grove, the Visitors Bureau, the digital book that you had sent me is now on our website as well, and that will live there until we update the new one. So wanted to let you know that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any comments that they would like to make on any of this? Awesome. Well, thank you very much. All right, so we will move on to item 5.2, which is the update on the 2022 Visitor's Guide and Business Newsletter. And Julie, you'll help us with this as well.
I wanted to just give you a little frame of reference. This data that I'm able to show you is only in part due because our online digital platform issue hosts our online version of our visitor's guide. And so they track user data to be able to see this information. And this software that we obtained to host this was the direct result of obtaining an Explore Minnesota grant last year. So we were able to purchase this software. So it's really great. You'll see that from these images, 73% of our online users who are looking at the visitor's guide are using their mobile phone to do so. This information is really helpful to us as we continue to put our guide out and how people are looking at it, and in terms of our layout and how we display our pages. The next slide here shows us some information, and I just kind of wanted to give you a little update of what you see here. So you'll notice that in January, when our visitor's guide went online, there was a huge spike in traffic. Everyone's looking at it. It's very exciting. And you'll see these next few months, we have a social media ad campaign going along promoting the visitor's guide. So those numbers are still quite high, doing really well. You'll see a little drop off. That's when we took one of our ads offline, and you'll notice that it did make an impact on our online views. I do attribute the success towards the end of this chart here to Strawberry Fest traffic and people coming to Cottage Grove and seeing us and being interested about what we have. I think that really did make an impact. So really interesting information we can gather from this platform. In addition, I just thought this one was kind of fun, so I threw it in, but you kind of think only people in the US, maybe Minnesota, are looking at us, but all of these countries have seen our visitor's guide and have looked through it, which I just thought was kind of neat, so wanted to show you that as well. The online version, still talking about here, one of the things in addition to the other graphs that we looked at in charts was we're able to track impressions on our website. And so overall, this visitor's guide has had about 28,000 impressions. In the Strawberry Fest 2-page spread specifically, they've had over 63,000 impressions, in part due to our online ad that we had ran promoting the Strawberry Fest. Things that I have been really impressed with for this is we're able to track, on the online version, we embedded a few videos, another benefit of this software, and we are able to tell that the highest visited things in our visitor's guide are the videos that we embedded. So they've had the highest traffic. And then after that, one of our local shops, Boondocks, and local venues, Hope Glen Farm. So it's kind of interesting information to see what people are looking at first, and then second and third. So overall, I've been really impressed with the impressions of this guide. The cover in the first few pages always have the highest amount of viewers because, you know, you're looking at it and you're opening it, right? And then usually that trails off significantly, but for this, I've been very impressed that throughout the entire 36 pages, we really remain steady in our amount of impressions. That tells me that people are reading through the entire guide, not just looking at the first 5 pages. So I've been very impressed with that from an online standpoint. The physical version of the guide, we've had over 5,000 copies distributed throughout Minnesota already at the international airports, MSP St. Paul, Mall of America, over 10 Explore Minnesota visitor centers throughout the state. And then, you know, just at our special events that we've been at, the Saints game, Strawberry Fest, different parades. I wanted to mention too, I forgot earlier, but the Strawberry Fest, we did partner with the Strawberry Fest committee. And so the ambassadors that go out to the parades in other cities like Hudson, Stillwater, Lino Lakes, Prior Lake, Wayzata, all these places, they're going out and handing out our Frisbees and our visitors guides because we've, had them come to the Saints game with us and have worked with them to help promote them as well. So we're getting out there, our information is getting out there, and it's really exciting because that's exactly the type of partnership I want to create and utilize in the future to get as many people on board to promote Cottage Grove. So just a few ways that our physical guide is getting out there. Next, I'll talk about our business newsletter update. This was something that we launched in January of this year. We have a partnership with our city facilities or Parks and Recreation, and they permit all of the large events that our city hosts, on our fields and things like that. And so if somebody is permitting something, they're letting us know with this partnership. And so you'll see this one in particular is one we sent out, and we're highlighting Strawberry Fest. We said we are anticipating a high turnout. This language, it's really meant to give local businesses a heads up when there's going to be a lot of people in town. Our hope is that they staff and stock appropriately, but of course, our attorney also says you can't say that. So, or just be, don't be specific on what you say. We just say we're anticipating a large turnout. That we just wanted to let you know. So 76 businesses are on this list so far, and I'm really happy to say that no one has unsubscribed. We've only been adding to that amount. So we have 8 months under our belt of this newsletter. And I just wanted to note, this is our average open rate per month. So over the 8 months, our average open rate is actually 52%, which is high above the industry average of 16%. So you'll see that most people on that list of 75 are looking at this and seeing what's upcoming. For that, I will stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Do we have any questions or feedback on the materials provided? Okay, well, thank you very much. Very informative, and we will move on to item 5.3, which is the events plan for 2023. And we'll just keep working together since you're staying there, so.
Sounds good. All right, I promise I'm going to keep this really fast because I know you guys are tired of my voice, but look at these photos. You will see the joy and the happiness and the fun that our people are having at the Strawberry Fest, at the Saints game. And those two events in particular are very large and take a lot of coordinating and effort. So the Saints game for 2023, if we did decide to do it, would be the week of June 5th through the 11th. The Saints do not have their current schedule or the 2023 schedule out right now, so I don't know which games are home or away. So it would just be somewhere around that date for 2023. And then next year's Strawberry Fest is June 15th through the 18th. And so I have a recommendation here before you. And I will stand for any other questions.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, so we're requested to have a motion to approve a partnership with the Saints to secure a date for Cottage Grove Community Night 2023. I would look for a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Larson. Any further discussion? Okay, all in approval, say aye.
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 Any against?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0. And then the second part is we need a motion to approve staff to begin work with the Strawberry Fest Committee to secure a Discover Cottage Grove booth in the 2023 Strawberry Fields Marketplace and agreements made for the distribution for swag materials by the Strawberry Fest ambassadors. I'll look for a motion on that.
I'll motion.
Motion made by Director Levine. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vice Chair Olson. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
You can go rest now. All right. And then moving on to item 4, which is the 2022 second quarter lodging tax collection and 2023 preliminary budget approval. And Jamie will help us with this one. Hello.
Hi, thank you, Chairman Dennis. We are going to take a quick look at the 2022 quarter two lodging tax we received. Excuse me. So for quarter two, we received just over $19,000 in lodging tax revenue from our facilities in Cottage Grove. It is 18.2% over our budgeted amount. But when you look at year-to-date, we are just about flat, so we've budgeted just about correctly. We're down year-to-date about $276, so 0.08% is what that equates to. So at this point, it looks like we are on track to hit our budgeted amount for 2022. Diving into 2023 revenue, we are looking at using the same 60% lodging tax or occupancy for our revenue projections for 2023 as well. So that puts our lodging tax revenue at approximately $66,000. Visitors Guide ad sales, we are projecting the same amount of ad sales for our 23 Visitors Guide, which you approved at our last meeting. So that puts our total projected revenue for 2023 at $72,640. Looking at expenses, we have three categories that we break our expenses down into for the CVB. We have marketing expenses, operating expenses, and other expenses. Marketing expenses are our largest bucket. That includes social media marketing, going to attend Saints games, things like the activities that we did this year. It also includes our website hosting. So we are projecting $45,874 roughly for our 2023 budget. Operating expenses, that is mostly our postage. The largest chunk is the payback to the city of Cottage Grove for the administrative services. So we are projecting 23 operating expenses at $22,295. And other expenses consists of one item, and that is the payback to the city of Cottage Grove for the startup costs. We have 2 payments left before that's completely paid back. So quarter one and quarter two of 23, we'll make payments for that totaling $2,750. Overall, we are projecting a profit of $1,720 as long as the revenue stays on track. But based on this year, it's looking fairly good that we're projecting accurately for 23. So with that, before you is a recommendation, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Directors, do we have any insights or questions we'd like to add on the budget at all? Okay. So what we have before us is a motion to approve the 2023 Cottage Grove Convention and Visitor Bureau preliminary budget, and I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Director Hansen. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, we are going to go to number 6, which is other business. And 6.1 is our Convention and Visitor Bureau comments. And is there anyone who would like to make comments for today? Vice Chair Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of things I wanted to touch on here this morning. First of which is how exciting it is to finally see some things kind of rolling. You know, when we first started, we were guessing at what exactly might work versus what wouldn't, and we tried to be very strategic in our thinking, and it appears that more often than not, we've been successful, and it's neat to see with Jamie's budget update or with Julie's events update that so many of the things that we thought might work actually, you know, bore some fruit for us. So thank you guys for all of the advice and counsel and for your time and energy being at these events. Certainly, it doesn't get done unless you have folks who are willing to show up and hand out Frisbees and talk to potential visitors, et cetera. So thank you for that. One thing I would suggest that we consider, at least for this year, and I'll certainly leave it up to the rest of the board to ponder whether this is a wise decision, is we do have a wonderful facility here in Cottage Grove, in our River Oaks Golf Course and the Eagles Bar and Grill. And they host events constantly at that facility. One of the things that we find every summer is that there are just, probably 50 to 100 golf tournaments that take place, and each of those has an opportunity for hole sponsorship or different ways to get your name out there. In fact, the Park High Hall of Fame recently had their golf tournament. Unfortunately, I couldn't play this year because I was traveling for a meeting, and oh, by the way, I saw the visitor's guide at the airport, both coming and going, so that was kind of neat. Those are events where we have a captive audience, and upcoming on September 24th, the public safety golf tournament will be taking place at River Oaks. And I would like to think about potentially a hole sponsorship where we could actually man a hole as a Convention and Visitors Bureau and talk to the golfers about, what's going on. This will certainly draw a number of different people to River Oaks. I think last year they had about 400 golfers, something along those lines. So, hopefully this year will be just as big, if not bigger. But I know the cost to that is about $250, but I think the return in terms of just getting our name out there, talking to the various people as they participate in the tournament, there's a silent auction, there's a dinner, so on and so forth. That might be something that would serve us well. So I just want to pose that as an option for the body to talk about. Again, it does occur on September 24th. So if it is something that anybody was interested in and we wanted to pursue as a body, we would want to make sure that we solidify that decision here today. And if it's not something we want to do this year and we want to consider for next year, that would be fine too. But I just wanted to bring it up as an opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Olson. So if that is something that you are seeking, this group to do, there would have to be a motion made, and then what would take place is there'd have to be a second to that. And then we'd want to have a little bit of discussion around looking at, what our current budget situation is. Do we have the budget cap to cover that? And so I guess I'll leave that to you if you wanted to make that motion.
I will. I'll move that the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau / Discover Cottage Grove spend $250 to sponsor a hole at this year's Cottage Grove Public Safety Golf Tournament at River Oaks on September 24th.
Okay, and is there a second for that?
So I just have a question. Can I ask a question with that or not?
After
Well,
a
so,
second.
yeah,
After.
because if he doesn't, if there's not a second, then it just ends right there. It's got to be a motionable item with a second in order for us to have a discussion.
Okay, so I'll second.
Okay. So at this point in time, now we would want to have the discussion and take a look at seeing what we have. And so whoever our staff expert would be on the current state of our budget, my question would be, do we have the cap to cover that?
Chairman Olson, or Chairman Dennis, I would have to review that off the top of my head. I am not sure on that answer, so I would have to review the budget on my computer.
Yeah,
get back to you.
I understand. I mean, this was not something, I had no idea Mr. Olson was going to bring that up. But what I will say is this, it's a $250 cost, right? And so, seeing as I have not personally donated anything yet to that particular cause, if we don't have the $250 for it, I would cover that cost. But, I'd be fine doing that. But it still would require, there would be a need to get members of this board to that event and dedicate the time and energy to putting in on it, and probably, no doubt, some staff time as well on that. So, again, I'll seek feedback from the members of the panel.
Well, it sounds interesting to me. I think any chance that we can get to be able to reach out to the community and let them know what's going on and to get people excited about what's going on in Cottage Grove, I think we should take that chance.
Director Levine?
I agree. The same. I have been thinking about that golf tournament myself as the chamber, just not knowing staffing for that weekend. But I do think it's a good opportunity.
Okay. Mr. Hanson?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. I'm on board. I'll donate my time for that. As long as we get, obviously good numbers back and see if it was or wasn't a good idea. And then going forward next year, we can know whether or not, it'd be something we keep on going, so.
Okay. Director Larson?
I concur with what everyone has said, and I'm certainly available with my time as well.
And then last but not least, and normally I would not ask the city administrator to weigh in on it, but seeing as you are here and are the leader of our city, could you please advise your thoughts into this relative to any impacts that might have on our staff?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, that'd be my only concern is if we have the staffing capability on that specific day, since we haven't, blocked that schedule. So for me, right now, it'd be confirming if staff can assist. But if you have enough substantial board members, for tent setup and stuff like that, then it wouldn't be as much of a challenge. So as long as the board members were willing to do some of the heavy lifting, then we shouldn't have an issue there. And obviously, based upon the financial opportunity that has been stated, then I don't see that there's a financial challenge. But if the board
Okay.
is willing to do some of that heavy lifting, then I think we should be fine.
Okay, so one thing that I would ask then of Vice Chair Olson is that he would amend his motion to include the fact that if we don't have the financial cap to cover that this board would accept a donation from me to cover that cost.
And I'm happy to make that friendly amendment to the motion that if the board does not have the funds available currently to cover the $250 cost, that we would accept a donation from the chair to cover that cost.
Okay, and then would you kindly amend your motion to make sure you're approving what he just added?
So amend to approve the updated motion.
That's it.
Okay, so that would, Mr. Olson.
A couple of pieces of information I probably should have included, and I apologize that I did not do this initially, but for the price that you pay to sponsor the whole, there are different available options in terms of how you're going to promote yourself. And the reason I know this is because I am personally sponsoring a hole at the tournament, and our Lions Club is also sponsoring the beverage carts and sponsoring a hole. The $250 donation enables you to have a presence at the hole, and that presence does not have to be a human presence. So for example, the hole that I'm sponsoring, all it's gonna have is a sign that says that I'm sponsoring the hole, but then you also get your logo in digital format on the screen on each of the golf carts as the players play. So everybody will know that when they pull up to hole number 6, let's just say that's the hole we sponsor, that this hole is sponsored by Discover Cottage Grove, your logo's on the screen. So there isn't an absolute necessity for people to be there. It's nice, and they're certainly looking for people who want to do that, and those of us who've played in these tournaments before, we've seen all kinds of different things going on at the hole where they're handing out coupons or certificates. They've got a little spin wheel where you can win a prize. Those are things that we could certainly do if it was something where we had the bandwidth to put somebody or somebodies on the hole. But the fact is that's not an absolute necessity.
Okay. And one last procedural question that I would just have to make sure that our counting on this is proper. Jennifer, would this donation be made, if we don't have the funds, would it be made to our process here, or would it just be something that I would donate to the Crime Prevention Board, for example?
Mr. Chair, we can look at that in either way, because it could go to the Crime Prevention Board as a direct donation, or it could come through the city as our standard donation that we accept quarterly at the city council
Okay,
table.
I think I'd probably prefer to do it through the city since this is a city process, so. Okay, is there any further discussion on this before we take a final vote? Okay, so we've had a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Vice Chair Olson. Okay, anyone else have any comments? Seeing none, I'll step in. I've got a couple things. First and foremost, I wanted to take a moment to welcome two new board members here for us. And I'm going to start down at the end for ladies first. And Gretchen Larson, otherwise known as G, is our Economic Development Director here for the City of Cottage Grove. So it's great to have you here with us as a valuable resource. And, you know, we're going to probably tap into that resource, and I might be doing it here in just a second when I talk about the hotel study that we have commissioned. But welcome aboard. We're happy to have you. And then second is Mr. Steve Hansen. And Steve, if you would be willing just to take a brief 30 seconds just to introduce yourself to the community, that'd be fantastic.
Okay. Good morning. Steve Hansen. Been here in Cottage Grove for about 14 years now. Have two kids growing up and going to school here. Have a wife. We love it here. And I just wanted to be part of the community any way I could. And this was the right fit at the time. And appreciate you having me on. I look forward to it.
Fantastic. Well, welcome aboard. And, you know, we are missing one director here this morning that would be new also, but it's nice to see more people sitting up at the table here. And Director Drusilla, did you want to just, I know you're new, I think this is the second meeting for you? First, oh, well,
This is my first
okay, we've worked together because I know you were at the Saints. Yeah, so if you wouldn't mind, if you'd be able to take just a few seconds to share a little about yourself with the community as well.
Yes, absolutely. My name is Drusilla Newt. I have been a part of the community and living in Cottage Grove for the past 8 years. I have 4 children attending Park High School, and I also have some children in Crestview as well. And I just wanted to be a part of, you know, the community and see what's going on in the neighborhood, and just to get to know more people and see what the needs are in our community and see whichever way I can help.
Fantastic.
Be a part of that.
It's great to have you here, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then a couple other things that I have. First and foremost, I look at the Convention and Visitor Bureau as being an extension of the EDA. Because this very process came out of work that was done through economic development, and especially when we went out to Las Vegas and learned about the lodging tax potential. So one of the things I like to share, and we had our EDA meeting yesterday morning, talked a little bit about the hotel study that we're going to be doing. And G, if you wouldn't mind giving us just a brief overview of that so that folks know we're working on something. And since the primary funding source for this board is hotels and lodging, where we get the 3% user fee, money that's collected and sent to us to use to promote and put Cottage Grove on the map, I think it's an important thing to talk about.
Absolutely. The hotel study that the EDA approved on August the 9th is going to be a company called HVS. They specialize in hotels only, so the hospitality industry. They came highly recommended. And in a kind of case of serendipity, the day, 2 days after the EDA approved the hotel study, we had yet another hotelier call us and say that they truly believe that Cottage Grove is ready for a hotel. So not only do you have folks interested in potentially building a hotel in 2023-ish, you know, you never can estimate exactly when they'll do what they want to do, but you have people competing now to want to talk to the city about that. So that's super. The study will take about 45 days, so maybe end of September / mid-October, there'll be a report to the EDA and some recommendations, hopefully, about the study and accepting it. And so we're just excited. The city administrator and I and the rest of the team will be meeting probably in the next week or so, 2 weeks, with the folks at HVS and how they'll want to lay out their plan, and then our thoughts about how the plan and the study should take place. So we're excited.
Excellent. We're very excited about that. And HVS is considered the preeminent organization to do those types of research projects. So we're very much looking forward to that. And of course, scoring one, if not two hotels, that's the wind that goes in the sails, right? that really helps to fund us. So that's a great thing. And then last but not least, just wanted to mention that on September 6th at 7 p.m., the mayor and I are doing a Facebook Live event, and it's going to be involving economic development, and we're going to talk about some of the things that have happened so far this year, positive things for the city, and we'll talk a little bit about what happened when we went out to Las Vegas to promote at the ICSC. And so it should be a really good time. We're going to give an opportunity for folks to dial in and ask questions live, and we'll do our very best to address those. And we are running for an entire hour, so 7 until 8 p.m. Last time we did it for 30 minutes and it went way too quick. So this should be a really good time. So that's what I have. Is there anything else that anyone wants to mention? Okay. All good? All right. So we'll go on to item 6.2, which is response to previous comments. We do not have any. Item 7 is a workshop. We do not have one today. And then finally, number 8 is adjournment. And before I ask for a motion and a second to adjourn, I will mention very quickly that our next meeting will be held right here at City Hall on Tuesday, November 29th, 2022 at 7:30 a.m. So with that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made by Vice Chair Olson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Director Levine. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 6-0. Have a great day, everyone.